I think we're live now. Are we live? There were some technical difficulties this evening, but I have to admit that I've been blind sampling on the run-up to tonight's live show, so I may have had a dram too many this evening. Let's see how tonight goes. There are always some surprise technical difficulties, and that happened a wee bit tonight. What didn't help is that I have been going backwards and forwards and trying these Islay whiskies that sit in front of me tonight. And yes, I'm kind of feeling like I've probably had half a dram too many before go live. Everything is fine, don't worry about it. But it means that I'm less sharp when it comes to trying to iron out or work with any kind of technical difficulties. So apologies for being a minute or two late. I hope you're all sitting comfortably, and thanks so much for so many of you waiting patiently outside the pub doors waiting for me to get things open and started. Tonight's theme, I hope, is kind of interesting. It'll let us talk about Islay whiskies, affordable Islay whiskies, and also to talk about the Ardbeg Wee Beastie, the new Ardbeg that everybody's talking about, especially given the fact that it's got that nice, bold, confident 5-year-old age statement up front there, and talking about how that fits into the context and the landscape of Islay whiskies. I am not coming at this fully from the perspective of how it fits into the Ardbeg range. I'm kind of shining a light on how that's going to compete with its peers out there in the single malt Islay whiskey landscape. That's where I'm coming from. But thanks very much for everybody joining tonight, and I hope you're sitting comfortably, and I'll jump in quickly before I go through what we're going to cover tonight and welcome in some of you beautiful whiskey folk and dedicated barflies. Wonderful to see you all. Let's see who we can welcome tonight. Bruno Martins, good to see you, Bruno. Always nice to welcome you in. I know that you're an occasional watcher. It's nice to have caught you tonight to welcome you in, Bruno. Nice to have you. Floyd Rodriguez is in. Good to see you, Floyd. Hellswood is in. Helen and Andy, wonderful. Mark Stengel is in. Only 0149, too early to drink. Oh, wow. Okay. You're quite a wee bit ahead of me, Mark. It looks like a new name as well. So is that 0149? Is that early in the afternoon? Could you be in the Southern Hemisphere, perhaps, Mark? Regardless, thanks for joining us, and nice to have you here. Marcus Kreitner is here, hopefully sitting next to Christina Max. It's always nice to see you, my friend. Drew from Arizona, good to see you, my friend. Whiskey Weekend Dram is in, wonderful to welcome you. Multi-mission, that's Menno. He's actually backstage with me tonight. Frank Peathead is here. Alan McLaughlin, Ted B. Good to see you, Frank, Alan, and Ted. Jimmy Legg is here, of course. Scott Monroe, one of the Glasgow Bottle Chasers, is here as well. Wonderful to have you, Scott. Nice to see you in. Lee J. Brown, The Rock Gut Review. That's my friend Ed. Good to see you, Ed. Good to have you in, my friend. Nice to welcome you in a vPub. Greg's Whiskey Guide in France, wonderful to have you. Thomas McCrory, he's also part of the little experiment that we're having tonight. I sent out 5 tasting packs. I sent one to my fellow Scot, Thomas McCrory. I sent one south of the border down to Simon Ray in Nottingham. I sent one to Belgium. I sent one to Germany. All of them arrived. Unfortunately, Charlie over in Norway, she didn't get her tasting pack. She's going to have to kind of do this after the event, but she's promised to share her notes with us and to see if there's anything in contrast to what we discovered through drinking or sipping these 5 blind Islay single malts. Mr. Ed is here. Che Francis, good to see you, Che. James Burgoyne, Rolf Ebhead over in Norway, wonderful Rolf. Andy C in East Kilbride, Donner Pass Whiskey, Tim in Northern California, good to see you. Malt Reviews in, good to have you. I hope that's Jason. Good to see you, buddy. I hope you're doing well. Jimmy Jazz, always wonderful to welcome in. Jimmy, Shane Lays in. Terry Dolan is here. Good to see you, Terry, from Northern Ireland. Penny Keane from New Zealand. Willie Dolier from just up the road. Amy, you star Amy, wonderful to see you. So many of you, and I'll do my very best to hang out with you as much as I possibly can tonight. I can see there's lots of orange coming in as well, and Helen is asking how my coffee was. It was fine. It seems to have helped a wee bit. Thanks, Helen. And Philip is saying, good evening from Switzerland. Good evening, dear Aquaviti. Good evening and welcome, Philip. Ricky Haddix is here. Wonderful to see you, my friend. Evening all. Thomas Elmer from the States. Only 12:52 p.m. just after midday, Thomas. Thanks so much for joining us. I hope I'm not keeping you away from your busy work. What I wanted to talk about tonight was Ardbeg's Wee Beastie. Let's show you this bottle. The only thing we can be certain of tonight is that this is in our blind lineup. It took me a long time to get a hold of this. It shouldn't have, but for some reason it did. People were reviewing it in the States, people were picking it up in Europe, and it seemed to take a long time to come to UK shores. And it seemed like a couple of outlets had it for a short amount of time and then it just evaporated. And it just took forever to arrive here. And I don't know why. I don't know if that was strategic or on purpose, whether it was down to the kind of the pandemic situation or no idea what was going on. But it took us a long time to get our hands on Ardbeg's Wee Beastie. But we were all really keen to see what this was all about because of that label there. A big 5-year age statement on it. This is a bold thing, and I think that they should be applauded for that, for being confident, Glenmorangie or LVMH, for putting a single-digit age statement on there and helping to educate the landscape out there that it's okay to enjoy young whiskey. But of course, behind that, it has to be priced well. It has to compete well with its contemporaries, and it has to still be quite good whiskey, of course. So this isn't about judging Ardbeg's Wee Beastie against the 10-year-old necessarily. We'll talk a little bit how it fits into the range, or more mature or higher ABV releases such as Ugadal and Corryvreckan. Those are all very different things. Even the Anno is a different thing. This is about talking about how this competes with other Islay whiskies at its price point and how it stands up. And rather than me just kind of looking at it and holding it in my hand and tasting it and knowing what I'm tasting, I've decided to try and hide it in a lineup alongside other affordable Islay whiskies. This is in the UK at £40 just now, so I've used that kind of £40 level to choose its competition tonight. So I allowed myself to go over £40 for one, because I thought it would be a curious comparison. But the other three in this 5-dram lineup is sub £40, £40 or less. So the same price as the Ardbeg Wee Beastie or less. They are all single malt Islay whiskies, and they all kind of hold, or let's say they're pointed towards a similar marketplace, a similar target market. So rather than kind of decide, knowing what we're sipping, hide it in amongst those other 4 drams, make a flight of 5, and then just kind of choose a favourite to least favourite, kind of talk about the experience that we're having. Is any of the drams standing out? That kind of thing. And then judge it kind of semi-blind. Certainly for me, it's semi-blind. I also sent out tasting packs to the other guys across the UK and Europe. As you know, only 4 of them have landed, and 2 of the guys have come in to join us tonight. 2 of the guys are going to come in and join us for a wee game of Is It a Speyside? But they're going to bring their take on it as well. And I've got a couple of visuals that I'm hoping that can work. They've been sipping in the background and independently ranking them under their own environment and their own thoughts. And then they've been plugging in their favourite to least favourite and giving us some notes that we can share. And we've done that separately as possible. Now, this isn't scientific. You know, this isn't a full-on real blind test. Certainly we're not on test here. It's the whiskey that's on test. And it's kind of on test with a very small t. This is just a curious thing, just to see if there's any obvious big, bold contrasts here. And I thought it would be a fun way, rather than you just taking one man's opinion, just listening to me. I thought it would be nice to send the exact same 5 drams out to everybody. I will admit that last night I was a little bit anxious about this. And last night I lined up these 5 drams. And in a quiet room when it was just me, not only did I perceive differences in the 5 drams, I'll admit they weren't huge differences, honestly, but I was also able to match them up successfully. I think last night I was lucky. This evening, I've just got a wee side that I'm just a wee bit sniffly tonight, a wee bit more blocked up, making excuses already, of course. But tonight, as I was sipping these in advance of going live, there was much less definition. It was very interesting. Now I've covered them off. I've actually got a way that I can show you here, another shot, just to kind of show you a dram cam or the setup. Because what I'm going to do at some point tonight is I'm going to mix these up again. And I want to let you see that it's dead easy to mix these up and for me not to know what I'm sipping. Let's bring this in and bring that so that you can just see that one there. So this is the 5 drams in front of me here, and all I've done is I've made my notes against each dram, and I've ranked these. These are now ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is a little coloured dot underneath this glass, but if you look in the glass, you'll notice that I just see a white dot when I'm sipping it. And if I hold it up to the camera, I'm reluctant to do that now because I'm looking at this camera. I don't want to know what this colour is right now. But as I'm sipping this, bring me back. As I'm sipping the dram like this and I just look at you guys, you'll see the dot, but I won't be able to see it. And the idea there is just to kind of tune out what I'm actually sipping as much as I possibly can, so that I'm just being honest and saying, you know, based on the mood I'm in tonight, the environment I'm sipping in tonight, against the whiskies that I'm sipping it against, this is where I'm going to place it. Then what I'll do, once we have a kind of a reveal to see how my first to last lines up against the other guy's first to lasts, and we talk about our notes or whatever, what our favourites are, what I'll do is I'll mix it up again and see if I can replicate any of those notes, see if it's consistent, just to have a bit of fun. At that point, I'm kind of trying to test me a little bit, I suppose, but I don't care if I get it wrong. Honestly, I would like everybody to be blind tasting as much as possible, and it's almost nice that if somebody goes on camera and just makes a mess of it and gets it wrong, it kind of encourages other people to be confident about blind tasting and not worrying about not being able to match up drams and things, and just relax and have a bit of fun with it. And that's that kind of humbling experience that you think you're tasting something when a lot of the time you're tasting it because of the expectation, because you know the brand, you know your relationship, you know your previous experiences with it. So it's kind of nice when that's stripped away a wee bit. So we'll try that tonight. That's the idea. Whether we're actually successful or not, of course, bears to be seen, but it should be curious. I kind of have an idea where this is going. I've already started to make conclusions, and they are not what I expected them to be, believe me. I think I missed a super chat. I saw a green thing flash up there and then it disappeared. If I have missed a dram, hopefully Vin is in No Nonsense Whiskey. Somebody can maybe let me know that I've missed a dram from somebody. But Charlie is in Kino Dot. She's actually one of the ones that was sent a pack. She didn't get it. Really excited to taste the samples when they arrive. Thank you so much, Roy. She's in Norway, and Norway doesn't work under the same rules in terms of borders and customs as the rest of Europe. So it can be a bit difficult to get packs in there. I sent it to Charlie thinking if it gets there, fine. But if it's not going to get there, if they've been taken away, if it's not permitted for me to ship it, whatever, fine. I wanted to involve Charlie in this experiment. So Charlie, I hope they do arrive with you at some point. Peterhead is in it saying it was from Charlie, and McCallum Fine Rare is saying a super chat from Charlie. So does that mean there was two? I think I might have missed one ahead of Charlie's. I'll raise this wee glass of what I've selected to be my marginally my favourite tonight. Cheers, Charlie. I'll close my eyes as I sip this so I'm not looking at the wee coloured dot at the bottom. Cheers, thanks for your dram. I've really enjoyed. As we come into autumn, I start to find myself more drawn to smoky, peaty whiskies. And when I imagine it and when I'm in the mood for it, I'm imagining the big, bold peat hit, the smoke. But when I've been sipping these, What you also discover is that very kind of spirit-driven sweetness, that sugar sweetness that can come on a lot of these Islas. And you'll see as I share my tasting notes with you tonight, that's quite prevalent on a few of these drams. Tends to be younger Islay whiskies that we're having. Richie Z is in. Good to see you, Richie. What a treat to welcome you in, my friend. Greetings, Roy and friends. Matthew Multi-Haggis Muncher is also saying good evening, Matthew. It's wonderful to have you in. Daniel is here as well. Sorry, late, busy, back with love. Always a pleasure to welcome you, Daniel. Doesn't matter if you're late. Doesn't matter if you have to pick it up on the replay. The vPub is not church. You don't have to be here every week. And Everwind is in saying, ahoy, malt mates. You star, Everwind. It's always a pleasure to welcome you. The Donner Pass Whiskey Tim is saying, rare day off this time of year, so I get to drink along live. Yeah, excellent, Tim. And then you're in the west of the US, so you're barely in the afternoon as well. Cheers to you. Tell us what you've got in the glass, Tim. Tell us what you're enjoying. Greg's Whiskey Guide is saying, getting very pro, Roy. Great suspense too. I don't know if it's going to be pro. I don't want to build it up too much, Greg. It's just to try and... I think the point I'm going to end up proving isn't the point that I intended, but I'll explain a wee bit later. Alistair McPhail is saying, evening, Roy, the glass toppers are coming into their own with a tasting of different Islay malts. Aye, absolutely. It does help, because what starts to happen is that there's not a lot of contrast between these malts. They're all heavily peated single malt Islay whiskies at a similar kind of age thereabouts. So if you can keep the covers on these, it kind of helps you isolate the flavors and the aromas a wee bit. It means that the room isn't filling up with heady smoke and peat. And I'm getting quite good at this. You know, these little toppers, you can just slide it to the side, have a nose in it. Oh, wow. I got some nice banana from that one. This is the one I've put as my least favorite. I got a lovely fruit burst from that. It's the first time I've had it tonight. You can slide it to the side and you just slide it back on again. I've kind of got quite good at that little action there, so I'm quite enjoying these glass toppers. Cheers, everyone. This is the one I've put in my least favourite position tonight. And I don't know what it is, I don't care what it is, but I'll tell you this. It is still a very good whiskey. There are no bad whiskies in the lineup tonight. There is no whiskey that's performing, in my opinion, and I don't want to lead the other guys, that's performing poorly, honestly. And Donner Pask is sharing that his first dram is Balvenie 15 Sherry Cask. Yum. So Balvenie 15 Sherry Cask, is that that'll be the single cask Balvenie, is it? Single barrel? Stewie Baby is saying, enjoyed your easy quiz, the ball quiz the other day. Yes, that was part of that was a massive live stream on Saturday. That was the Bastards Ball, which was the Whiskey Tribe's annual event. They had to do it virtually this year. And I was nervous on the run up to that as to how it was going to work technically. And in the end, it was kind of it was fun in the end. It didn't run perfectly smoothly, but we managed to get through it in the end. And we managed to have that little pocket of time where the YouTube channels got to get together. And I just want to give a shout out to the guys at the Whiskey Tribe. They're killing it out there. Between the two channels, the Whiskey Vault and the Whiskey Tribe, they have knocking on for 600,000 subscribers. They don't really need anybody. They don't need to be collaborating with anybody, but they're so invested in the idea of whiskey community that for every single event that they've had down there in Austin, and even the virtual event, they've reached out to other channels. And then they've allowed those other channels to reach out to other channels that might enjoy attending and getting involved. That is a wonderful thing, and it just kind of takes that whiskey community that we all enjoy so much and shows people that it's not just the people, it's not just the people tuning in and viewing, but it's the people that create content, just the same as it is the people in the industry as well. That kind of family connected feeling. It's almost like whiskey demands. So a big shout out to the guys at the Tribe and the Vault for giving us a pocket of time on their live stream, on their channel, and allowing us to present ourselves to their community. I know there's a huge overlap as well, but the scale is completely different. And I think that it's a very, very nice thing for them to have done. And I appreciate, even if it was a wee bit messy at times, I appreciate the opportunity to being able to participate. Cool Running. I wonder if that's a new name. Cool Running. It does look like a new name. There are no bad whiskies. There's just not so good whiskies. I have to agree that sentiment is kind of true. I have managed to slip up in my time and taste a few bad whiskies, but it's only bad to me personally. I think you're absolutely right, Cool Running, is that there's whiskey out there for everyone. And some man's poison is another man's elixir, right? It's kind of how it works. The quality is usually very high, even on the stuff that you don't enjoy. The quality is usually assured. Jimmy Legg is saying because of their size, the Vault Tribe, the personal interaction is gone. I think you can imagine it's very, very difficult. There are ways to kind of dice it up and cut it up a little bit. And I have to say, for Daniel Andrex, when you meet them in real life, if you are able to hang around with them, they are very, very interactive, personal, kind, and generous with their time. And you might be surprised how many people, Blair, that they actually know in their community, and I include you in that as well. But it's difficult when the channels grow and become big. I know it's difficult. Mark is saying, this all goes to say taste is subjective. Absolutely, more than it being subjective. I'm judging these whiskies just in the mood I'm in tonight. I am not confident I'm going to match the lineup of favourite to least favourite that I made last night, the decisions and the choices that I made last night. It's not just subjective as in the person and the whiskey. It's the person and the whiskey in the moment in time and the environment that they're in. As long as we all understand that dynamic, it takes a much, much better palate, a much more dialed in appraiser of whiskey than I am, to be able to cancel those things out and to draw it towards much more objective outcomes. So just as long as you know that. Frank is saying, sorry, I have to disappoint. I actually have tasted bad whiskey. It was my own fault, but a German Aldi for a ridiculously low price. I have stumbled upon experiences myself. It says whiskey on the label, but it's maybe not whiskey as we know it. I don't want to seem biased, but I have to say in the Scotch whiskey realm, even things that I don't like, I think it would be a stretch too far to say bad. There are so many whiskies in the world, Irish, American whiskies, so many whiskies globally that just by the nature of the label and where they've been produced, quality is usually implied. It's usually intrinsic. There are not so good and there are better. That's half the fun of it. But I have had the misfortune of you, Falsgraf, of tasting a few oddball things in my time. Whiskey Weekend Drama saying was great doing the quiz with Daniel this year. So they make some time to enjoy great barflies. Daniel stayed. You might remember when Daniel Whittington came on here to talk about something. He didn't have to stay for the quiz. He was off hire, but he stayed for the quiz and participated. And he's just a good guy. He's just a really good guy to have in the whiskey scene, honestly. We're lucky to have Daniel and Rex doing what they do. Burkey is in saying, good evening, Roy. I've just watched the Scotch Test Dummies recycled review. Very funny, lol. It's an absolute classic. And we're going back to 2018 now. Maybe 2017 when that first came out. But it's whenever I'm down feeling a wee bit sad, and that's just one of these kind of go-to videos that you watch just for a great laugh. Scott is tremendous in it. Glad you enjoyed it, Burkey. And I hope you left a wee comment to tell the boys that you liked it as well. Chris Banks Wildlife is in. Good to see you, Chris. It's been a while since I welcomed you in. Saying, listen to you sat in our decking with the log burner going, burning peat from Islay and enjoying an Ardbeg 10-year-old. Hope everyone is well. I am well, honestly, Chris, but not as well as you. That's amazing. That sounds amazing. And Shane is in, the order you drink the drams in can make a big difference. I have had one I liked at one tasting, but the same whiskey, different lineup, was not as good. Absolutely. Absolutely. Literally 2 drams, sipping in contrast, one that you picked out as stellar the week before can suddenly be rendered sweet, bitter, young, spirity, something that's putting you off when is the the last time you had it, you loved it. Listen, we have to remember that most of the time, it's not the whiskey, it's us. Like I say, there are experienced whiskey tasters out there that are much better at appraising whiskey, that can dial out some of these variables. But most of us can't. And I don't think we should be so caught up in the pursuit of that rather than just enjoying whiskey, but being aware that it's not only us that's changed. It's not only the whiskey that's changing, it's us that's changing. It's the environment and it's the lineup, the contrast. Thomas Elmer is saying Rex is a completely different person, completely different in person, very little mooch at all. Aye, he's just easygoing. He's just polite and nice to talk to and have around. Megan Miller is here. Good to see you. She's saying, I hope everyone will take a moment to hit the like button for Aqua. Thank you so much, Megan. The likes do help. It's just nice. It's just nice to have the reassurance. But just having you here and having you interacting and commenting is wonderful too. Thanks, Megan. Thank you so much. Graham Fraser is saying, curious to see if there are any non-peated Islay whiskies in tonight's lineup. Some great drams in this category, often sidelined by peat. No, tonight was all about placing the Ardbeg Wee Beastie up against its peers. So it had to be peated. It had to be even leaning towards slightly heavily peated. So you might find that I've stayed away from the lighter peated Islas, just to give people a wee hint. I'm going to share actually. I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm going to reveal to myself what these whiskies are, my favourite to least favourite. I'm not going to try and guess them right now. I'll do that later once I've mixed them up again. But I'm going to tell you what my favourite to least favourite is, and I'll share it with you. They're locked in, going from left to right. I'll show you that shot, that camera shot again, so that you can see. So there you go, my favourite to least favourite. And I've got some notes written here. I'll lift these up to you. And this is locked in for the evening, based on the context of this evening. This is, and in summary, there's not a lot to split these. There is no bad whiskey in this lineup. I found it very difficult to decide between, first and second, third, all the way down the line. Even if I compared first to fifth on a different night, I honestly might switch it around. Maybe not. I think there is a clear difference between first and fifth. I think there's something in the fifth one here that's going to be interesting, and I'm going to talk about it. But other than that, there's not a lot of difference here. Okay, this is my first dram. I've said that this is light limoncello. There's some effervescence, some fizz here, higher ABV, ice and sugar. The ice and sugar specifically hangs around. It's almost like you can imagine or perceive a grittiness of the sweetness on this one. You're going to see the colour of this as I lift it up. I think I know what this is, but I'm going to keep it to myself for now, and I'm going to just red. Okay, so let's just make a note of that. I've got a little visual here that I'll share with you in a bit as I fill this up, and I'm going to try and do this on a bit of a screen share. See if I can make this happen. Bring that over here and do a screen share. I want to show you this visual. Here we go. So in the background, we have our friends who have already sipped these offline, and I'm going to fill in mine, but I'll share it with you live right now. They've told us what their favourites are. Now, interesting, I've just claimed that red is my favourite, and that was second favourite for Rico and Simon, but Menno has suggested that red for him is his least favourite. Yellow from the other guys participating seems to be close to the end right now. So let's see where yellow comes in mine. I've picked up my second glass, and I've suggested that this is sweet smoke, but it's clean, some brininess on it. There was quite a few mineralic notes. There was a lot of mineral notes in a few of these whiskies. This one was one of those. It was slightly drier. And for me, let's see if I can get it again. I got some like tinned orange segments, like almost like orange and syrup. I don't know if it's plain like orangey now, but it's still sweet. A little bit of dryness, a little bit of mineral. Finishes, goes a little bit like seashell stone type mineral notes, slightly briny. But overall, the experience is sweet. And this one is, wow, blue. So second place, that's interesting. I've put blue as my second favourite. And that is the favourite, blue is the favourite of Rico and Simon. Let's see what I picked for my third. I'll fill in my colours as well when we finish this. I can't do it while I'm sharing the screen. Actually, if one of you guys in the background in the green room back there have access to that spreadsheet, you can go right ahead and fill out mine if you want. Change mine to red first and blue for second place. This one I've said, this is the middle ground for me. I've said that this is the softest of the lineup. I've said it's very clean, quite an elegant dram, sponge sugar, and a little bit ashen on the finish, like almost like an Ardbeg ash. No, this is soft. So immediately I'm drawn. I think I know what this is just because the ABV is softer on this. This is much more easy and accessible. I think it does lose a wee bit from the softness, but it's still a nice dram. It's so very clean, so very just kind of sits in the center. It's not kind of shouting in any obvious direction. Not quite as minerally on the finish. There's fruit there. What is the fruit? It's like, it's not a sharp citrus, it's a soft citrus. I think I know what this is, honestly. Mostly because of the softness. But this one that I've put in the middle is green, which matches Simon and Menno this time. And it's Thomas McCrory's favourite. Very interesting. So third place for me is green. So it brings us down to the, I'm trying to remember the colour of the Wee Beastie. It's good that I've forgotten it. Okay, fourth place. The idea of putting this in fourth place or putting something in fifth is almost nonsensical because the difference is so slight. Be interesting to see what the other guys think when I bring them in. I've said this is toffee caramel, sweeter, lots of brown sugar, with a slight saccharin note on the finish. I was enjoying this. I was really enjoying it. I was liking it a lot, and it was just that saccharin note on the slightly bitter, sweet, bitter sugar, burnt sugar, kind of artificial sweetener finish on this. Let's see. Toffee caramel. Really toffee caramel. It's bizarre to talk about toffee caramel when there's so much smoke in a dram, but you've dialed out the smoke, you're past the smoke. It's like a toffee chew, but it goes, it does go that the sugar that's left on your palate is like an artificial sugar. Suddenly getting a wee bit of mint there as well that I didn't get earlier. But there we go, and the colour of that one is pink. So second from end is pink. Second from last, and that was widely spread amongst everybody, you can see there. And finally, the one at the end, it's clearly going to be our yellow dram. Oh, so this this is kind of suddenly just now. This is much louder. This is much more smoky, peaty, more spirity. Almost like there's more ABV here. It's louder than it was earlier when I was sipping them earlier. Nice texture. Wow. Wow, that's got more texture than I remembered from earlier as well. It's bolder. Grapefruit right in the middle. I think I've got that earlier. Yep, mid-palate grapefruit. So I got, this was the most kind of mineralic, seashelly, briny type thing. I'm suggesting this is the smokiest, so that's standing up again here. And I've also said that on the finish, it goes very ashen. I've also got a note here to say that this is probably the youngest here. Could that be the Ardbeg? I've got my own idea, but let's not say anything just now. And I can tell you that this is the yellow, yes. Grapefruit, slightly bitter citrus on that one. Super interesting. I wonder if the guys in the background are listening to me going, it's just nonsense. What's he talking about? But that's just my notes. And I think the most important thing about when you're doing this, confidently write down, vocalize, share what you are experiencing. Don't invent it. Don't make it up. Just dial in as close as you can. It doesn't matter if you're saying lemon and actually somebody's getting a lime, or it doesn't matter if, just vocalize it. It's the only way you're going to get better, especially if you're in company that you're comfortable to do the same thing, is to just get it out there. And if you make an idiot of yourself, if you say the wrong things, or if you say something and then somebody's able to pull you more on track, that's what it's all about. It's a wee bit of trial and error. We're not all experts. Some of us are biologically better set up for this. I am always kind of finding myself in company that do it much, much better than I do. Anyway, that's where I am. I'll jump in and chat to you guys for a minute, and then I'll pull in the guys from backstage to see how they got on. So I'm looking for the orange here. Thomas Elmer is saying, are all of your guests peat heads? On purpose, I didn't even ask. I'm sending this out. It didn't, as long as they can drink it, as long as they can enjoy peat, it didn't need to be their favorite whiskey style. But I would suggest that yes, there are more than, nobody said we don't want to participate because it's peaty whiskies. And McCallum Fenner is saying sweetener, so is it a diet whiskey? Yeah. I get that in quite a few whiskies. It doesn't need to be a peaty whiskey for me to get that saccharine sweetness. I used to think it was to do with E150 caramel. I used to think that I was tasting caramel colour, but that's not proved consistent. There's just some sugars kind of taste a little bit more like bitter saccharine to me. Stuart from Whiskey Whims is in. Everything is a contest, especially when you're up against Aqua Vitae. Aye. As long as it's fun, it's not a competitive contest, but it's kind of trying to kind of, you know, to be a wee bit objective about subjective things. Yes. And somebody is claiming that I am full of it. Good for you. Saying, Menno's saying, yes, you're full of it, Roy. Why am I even here? He's laughing. Let's get him in and see what he says. The Mash and Drum is in as well. The Mash and Drum, people are saying hello to him. Whiskey Central, good to see you, Whiskey Central. I'm trying to remember your name. You told me your name earlier today. Apologies for forgetting, and I think I made a mistake with your name earlier today. But if Jason from the Mash and Drum is in, I'm hoping that Jason is going to be able to join us next week. His blind challenge, and I'm sorry to build up so much anticipation for it, but I loved it. I loved watching it. I loved listening to Jason. I loved his assessment of the whiskies. He's good. He's very good. Don't want to spoil too much. But some of the things that he comes out with in that blind tasting are to be witnessed, honestly. I'm looking forward to that. Jason, I'm looking forward to welcoming you on the vPub as well. Biologically better, nice one. Yeah, Jimmy, that's me using my excuse, right? Some people are just conditioned, they're just born better at it than others. Nice little Islay challenge. So that's Jason from Mash and Drum. Aye, that's exactly what it is. Danny is here saying, hi, Roy, good to see you, Dan. And Whiskey Central is saying, Shyla. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you so much. And it's nice to welcome you in. Good to have you in the pub. McCallum Fenner is saying, try Shyla. Everyone is saying I still have difficulty putting other flavours other than the peat smoke out of heavily peated whiskey. If I do, they are generic sweet, sour, salt, brine. I am a super taster. Sigh. Okay. I know exactly what you're talking about, Everwind. And I think the best way to do it is to sip them in contrast next to each other, because you do dial out the peat smoke and you do taste past it, and you dial in on things that are slightly different. But the tastes that you've listed here, these are the bold hooks: sweet, sometimes a wee bit sour, salty, briny, rock pooly, mineralic, absolutely. These are the common things that come in these young spirity Islay whiskies, certainly the ones that don't rely heavily on super active casks, etc. Brian Kilco saying, I suppose I should pour some Ardbeg Ugadal for this evening's stream, or in your case, Brian, this afternoon's. Absolutely. Please go ahead and do that. Let's ask for a thumbs up from my friends who are waiting in the background. Menno and Simon, give me a thumbs up if you've got any audio you can hear. We were having a bit of technical difficulty. That's one of the reasons we were late tonight, because one of my guests was struggling a wee bit. Let's see if they're doing okay now. We have Menno from Belgium. Good to welcome you to the pub, my friend. And Simon from Nottingham. Menno, you can hear me and I can hear you, yes?
Yeah.
Simon, please tell me it's working.
Yep, sounds fine from here.
Excellent.
You hear me all right?
The earbuds, the hammer blow solution to audio problems, always. Wonderful to welcome you both behind the pub. I know that later on tonight we're going to play a wee game of Visit a Speyside, but right now I want to focus on this. I pulled up that visual there, and that was quite interesting because there's quite a spread. There's a couple of drams that were kind of that were marked, but generally, let me go to Menno first. What was your feeling? If I look at Menno, you've kind of, so pink, yellow, green, blue, red. There are arguably some of your whiskies are flipped, almost inverted compared to other guys there. I went through these and I gave some tasting notes and things. Could you correlate, or did you find that there was no commonality there? What did you discover?
Yeah. For most of it, definitely. But the reason I picked the pink is that it stood out a bit. It was what did I wrote down? I think it was
over here. I can see you better. There we go.
It had its nice rounded note to it. It was woody, had some soft peat, some medicinal note. It was the fact that it was well rounded that made it stood out a bit compared to the others. So I picked that as my favorite. But like you said, it all depends on the time and the moment, because going back and forth for over an hour and a half, I may have changed my mind twice already about some of the whiskies, but I committed and I'm sticking with it. So
I have to say, I was expecting the very same thing from me tonight as well, because the differences, there aren't super steps of contrast here, right?
No.
We've got kind of, the differences are remarkably subtle.
Yeah, and there are no duds in this lineup whatsoever. They're all very decent to very good whiskies.
Yeah, honestly, I have to say, before I go to Simon, my point of this evening, putting Ardbeg up against its contemporaries rather than focusing on where it fits in its own range up against the Anno and the 10-year-old, etc., was to point out that I think £40 is still expensive for young Islay whiskey. And honestly, I think that that's true. I think that £40 is expensive for 5-year-old Islay whiskey. However, what we have to do is not kind of judge it on it's only 5-year-old whiskey and judge it against its peers out there in a similar price bracket and see how it stands up. And that's what I tried to do. And I was sure that we would end up with something that was so obviously young and spirity and just a peat hit, just a bold thing, and that there were other more mature, more rounded, more mellow, more elegant experiences. But I've kind of proved myself a wee bit wrong, I think, because there is nothing in this lineup that I am confident enough to point at and say that's the Ardbeg. Do you feel any different, Simon?
No. I initially I thought I could pick the Ardbeg out, but I don't think so. I mean, this was interesting for me because normally if I have a peaty whiskey, it's at the end of a flight. So I'm not accustomed to drinking a flight of peated whiskies side by side And yeah, it was fascinating. Exactly what you said. Very, very difficult to tell a lot of them apart. Very, very minor tweaks between them. The only one that I really didn't take a liking to was the yellow one. There was something quite astringent about it that I didn't get on with. But it's been interesting. I've put water in as the show's been going on and gone back and tasted them a few times, and the water is certainly the green, which I had kind of around the middle. I think if I were to do it now, having put the water in, I think the green would probably go up my list. But in terms of trying to guess what they are, I thought I could identify the Ardbeg at the start. I thought I might be able to pull out a Boonahaven in there as well. But as the evening's gone on, I'm more and more confused.
Well, that's right. And I think the most important thing here is to remember that you are not on test here. I'm not expecting you to pick out the Boonahavens or whatever it may be. What I'm trying to do is just to kind of, what we may achieve or we may not achieve is to prove a point. Either that there are standout better whiskies than others, or that actually no. If I was to force you based on your gut at the start, you thought you'd picked out the Ardbeg. What one did you think it was?
I thought it was the red.
Okay. And there was something in that made you think. Did you say astringent?
No, there was the yellow that was quite astringent. There was something quite young, I thought, about the red.
Okay, good. Okay.
And that was kind of guiding me, I think. Quite a lot of prickle on the front of the mouth.
Yeah.
Okay, what I'm going to do, just for anybody that wants to call this up, I'm going to drop this link right into the chat, and I'll be updating this through the night. I'll be putting what the whiskies are in there as well, so people can drop right in. I think that link will work. If it doesn't work, let me see if I have to do a different one. Change it to can view only. I hope I've dropped the right link in. Let me do the second link. It might be the same. And that'll let people see. But I can see that Simon's favourite tonight. Thanks for putting mine in. Whoever put my colours in as well, thanks very much. Simon's favourite tonight was the blue. And the red that you felt could have been the Ardbeg you put in second place. And the yellow that gave you that astringent note, you put in last place. So that's kind of there are some similarities there between Simon and I. We're quite close, Simon, but Menno has almost flipped. He really liked the yellow; it's in second place, and his red, which is your second and my favourite, Menno has put in last place. Sam Zaid is in as well. Hi Roy, the Beastie is a tricky dram. Give it an hour in a glass before you start noticing the Ardbeg character. By Ardbeg character, maybe he's talking about that, maybe the ashen thing that I'm looking for in Ardbeg. It tends to happen on the finish. Sam, but thanks very much for your virtual dram, my friend. I'm going to just grab this middle dram to say cheers. Slanjava. And thank you for your recent support as well, Sam. Thank you so much. So yeah, there are quite differences there. But I think, did you both find yourself struggling to decide where to position things, second, third, fourth?
Yeah.
We were having to be
Definitely.
quite brutal about it, right?
Yep.
And I get that a lot when I do blind tastings.
Yes.
Because, you like it, but it's very subtle. It's very close.
Yes.
Quite a lot of the time.
So where I was expecting to put this young 5-year-old Ardbeg up against its contemporaries for the same price, regardless of age statement, by the way, same price bracket, and it would be shown up as being this young, bold, kind of difficult to grapple with monster, this beast, it's actually turned out to be a bit more subtle than that, which teaches me something more than anything, I think. What I would, and I don't know how you feel about this, everybody was nervous when Lagavulin 8 was launched that it would push the price of Lagavulin 16 up, because Lagavulin 8 was launched at the same price or in some markets more expensive than the Lagavulin 16. Do you remember? That didn't happen. It didn't play out like that. Now, Lagavulin is Diageo. It's a different product. you can still buy Lagavulin 16 around about the same price, or sometimes a little bit cheaper than the Lagavulin 8. So I argued at the time it was less about the Lagavulin 8 being expensive and more about a demonstration of how good value the 16 was. But honestly, the 8-year-old Lagavulin still hovering about £50. I would like to see it £8 or £9, £10 cheaper. But it is what it is. It's part of the core range, and I would rather have it there than not. Now we see the Ardbeg Wee Beastie coming out at 5-year age statement on there, and people starting to get nervous that the pricing is very close to the 10-year-old. You can buy the 10-year-old in the UK for £43, £44, and the Wee Beastie at 5 years old is coming out at £40. So people are nervous that that's going to be a new stake in the ground that's going to push the price of the 10-year-old up. I am also nervous of that.
Mm-hmm. A lot of stores are actually pushing the novelty factor, because around me I've seen the Wee Beastie priced for around €75, which would be somewhere around £63-65, I think.
That's to do with demand. That's to do with people not able to get their hands on it. That's a distribution issue.
And that's the reason I haven't bought me a bottle as of yet. So
I agree. Don't buy a bottle at that price. And I think we'll prove that tonight. That I think what we will prove tonight is that probably it's not as expensive, it's not as jaggedy, it's not as young and spirity and youthful as we thought, because we're struggling to find it in this lineup. But it's probably priced at the maximum the market will stand. Honestly, £40 for a 5-year-old single malt whiskey. But let's let it play out. Let's see where it's positioned. Let's start to reveal what the whiskies are, okay? I'm glad you're here. I'm going to do a screen share. Again, I'll pull you over here. This is difficult to do. And I'm going to pull in a slide that will tell us what the whiskies are, what their ABVs are, and what their prices are, okay? Let's see if I can make this work. This is going to appear on the slides that I have with your notes. There's a bunch of people in. We've got over 40 people looking at this just now, and they can see as I drop in this slide. Here we go, and I'll present this, and I'll also do a screen share so that everyone can see it at the same time. Why did I do this? I'm just giving myself all of these. Now I need you to share screen. There we go. Here we go. Here, gentlemen, are our drams.
Oh, wow.
I'm focusing on your expressions and your faces. Okay, let's go from left to right here. I'm suddenly nervous myself. But we have to remember that we are not on test. We have ranked our whiskies. That's all we've done. I'm going to actually mix these up live during the stream tonight again and go through the same process again. Because I don't want it to be about that. I don't want it to be about testing us. I want it just to show people if there was a contrast or if they were very samey. On the left-hand side, we've got £38 Scarabus. It's a non-age statement, single malt Islay, 46% ABV. Doesn't say anything about colour, doesn't say anything about chill filtration on the bottle. Really quite fancy labelling. This has made news here, there, and everywhere. I've used it in blind tastings a couple of times, and it's often quite impressed. I don't want to tell people what the colour of this is yet. I don't want to remind myself what the colour is. I just want to show people that that is what is there. Then this is the expensive, this is the premium entry here, if you like, because I think that this is priced probably a bit high for what it is. But regardless, it's a favourite of mine. I've declared my love for this in the past. This is Lagavulin 8-year-old. It's not the anniversary edition from 2017. This is just core range available everywhere, Lagavulin 8. 48% presentation here from Diageo, so they don't talk about chill filtration and they don't talk about colour or not. I have to say, I don't think there is colour here, and probably at 48%, you would probably hope that they're not chill filtering it. But regardless, right in the middle, we've got the Ardbeg Wee Beastie, which I've already shared. And then we've got another kind of, along similar lines as the Scarabus, but here we have an age statement. This is from Atom Brands, I believe, the Master of Malt guys, the guys behind Master of Malt, that boutique whiskey company, all of those brands. And this is Aerolite Lindsay. This is an Islay single malt. We don't know what distillery it's from, the same as the Scarabus, but this has an age statement on there as well. 10 years old, 46% ABV. Prices on there as well, £42. 10-year-old whiskey, double the age of the Ardbeg, only £2 more expensive, but actually not much cheaper than Ardbeg 10, interestingly. And finally, I've got one of my all-time favourite single malt Islay whiskies, Caol Ila 12. Be interesting to see how this does in the lineup tonight, because this is the most mature age statement here. I think it's great value, honestly speaking, at £39, 12-year-old Islay single malt whiskey. But unfortunately, it suffers a wee bit from 43% ABV. I don't want to complain about that because I do enjoy sipping this. But I think this has shown this up in the lineup tonight to me. I'm quite happy to be proved wrong, but I think that there was a softer dram here that I think that ABV played through, so it took a wee bit away, took a wee bit of texture, a wee bit of spice and grip away from the palate. So let's see what you think. Are you surprised by any of those, guys?
I had a hunch the Scarabus might be in there. I was thinking perhaps you would have added something from Kilhoman or something like that, a Mahir Bay perhaps.
Mahir Bay was in the running, honestly.
I didn't pick that up. I didn't pick up any, because I'm quite familiar with that one and I didn't recognize it, so I discarded it. But yeah, pretty surprised.
Simon?
Yeah, I thought there was probably a Caol Ila in there. I thought there was probably a Lagavulin in there, but the other two are a complete surprise to me.
Well, I have to say that there isn't a Bunnahabhain in there, Tochicada, which is the follow-up to the original Tochic. That could have been in there at £40 to £45, 46.3% ABV as well. No age statement. I think that's valid to go in there. It would have been good in the lineup, but you can only have so many peaty whiskies. I think Mahir Bay would have been valid as well. Similar price. Non-age statement from Kilhoman, 46% ABV presentation. That would have been valid in there as well to mix it up. But I chose to put in two official bottlings as competitors to Ardbeg, a Lagavulin and a Caol Ila, and I chose to put two, let's say, more indie releases, the Scarabus. We don't actually know where Scarabus is from. I'm convinced it's Lagavulin. If you asked me to pick out the Scarabus in the lineup, I would have a pretty good stab at it tonight. No guarantee I would get it right. And the same with the area like Lindsay. We don't know where that's from. Probably, my gut feel is that it's maybe plays a wee bit like a Caol Ila / Lagavulin as well. But that is the landscape that Ardbeg Wee Beastie has launched itself into. That kind of price point, that kind of competition, and that kind of age statement. Okay, there's the Scarabus is non-age statement, but Caol Ila is mature, 12 years old. Like Lindsay is mature, 10 years old. We've got Lagavulin 8 years old, still a bit more expensive. But that's where it's got to compete, I think. Are we any more confident? Do you think you would be able to kind of start to pick things out now that you know what the lineup is?
I'm not wholly convinced now.
I think I've got a pretty good idea what the Caol Ila might be.
You think you know what the Caol Ila might be? Go ahead, guess if you want to.
Yeah, I think it could be the pink.
Okay, so I mean, what we want to do is we want to just kind of just draw attention to the fact that these. Does anybody feel like they've picked out the Wee Beastie? Does anybody feel like they've picked out Ardbeg?
I've got two.
You've said enough. Your reaction is enough, because of that reaction, we've got a 5-year-old whiskey up against these other ones, and it's not standing up and making itself obvious. That I think that flatters the Ardbeg. Would you agree?
Yeah.
£40, pricey for a 5-year-old whiskey, but it might just be that they've been able to bring something out that's engaging enough, mature enough. I thought I'd picked it out, but when I was sipping there live on screen, I got the one I thought that was the Ardbeg behaved much, much differently on the palate and made me doubt myself. I labeled these. I put the colors on these bottles myself. I know I know what colour is, let's say I knew what colour was which, but I've since forgotten on purpose. When I reveal these and when I mix these up again tonight, it doesn't matter whether I know the colour or not. I'm going to mix them up again and try and do the same thing again, just to add another layer of fun for myself. But the idea was not to test me, Simon, or Menno. It was purely to check to see how the whiskies would do. Thomas Elmer is saying, isn't there a base price point a distillery needs to hit in order to make their profit? For instance, will Ardbeg ever release something for less than £40? Every distillery has a different cost to produce per litre of alcohol. There is no doubt. There was a famous, it's not so famous, I know from somebody once told me that the most expensive distillery in the UK, in Scotland, sorry, to produce single malt from at one stage was Glenturret. The price per litre, it just so happened to be the most expensive from there. But we're speaking about before taxes and duties and all the other costs are added on, the difference isn't so huge. If there are distilleries out there that are able to produce aged product 7, 8, 10, 12 years old for £25, £30, there's no reason why other distilleries couldn't do that. However, they should be able to charge whatever the market will pay. They've built their brand up. They're pitching it against their peers, their contemporaries. So there's no way that Ardbeg's going to release this at £25, £28, £29, and be seen to be cheap. Because whether we believe it or not, whether we accept it or not, we would perceive it to be cheap and we would judge it as cheap. I don't know if you would agree, Simon and Menno. They're going to try to preserve their brand. So what I thought I would be able to do tonight would be to prove that they are charging a little bit too much for a 5-year-old whiskey. But I think I'm proving that that's much more difficult to prove. Okay, I don't know how to play this now, but we need to do a wee bit of a reveal. So what I'm going to do, and I'll try. We can't really do it together because we're not going to know. I'll pull in this other camera. And if anybody thinks that they can't do blind tasting at home, label the glass with a wee coloured dot so that you can't see it from this side. You can't tell what dot is which, okay? And then simply do this. These are all different logos on top, so I'll remove these. And then you just start to mix these up backwards and forwards. And you just distract yourself by speaking to somebody else and immediately, I have no idea what order these are in. Were you able to follow that? Even if you've only got 2 or 3 drams at home, just simply mix them up in front of you and play a little game of testing yourself. It's very easy to confuse. Maybe it's just my brain, my simple brain, but I feel it's very easy to confuse me. I have no idea what's in front of me now. So guys, I'm going to let you relax with your dram. I'll pull you back in for a blind matchup. Now that you know what the whiskies are, do your very best to match them up. Only if you want. That is optional because I promised you that you wouldn't be on test, okay? I'll speak to you in a moment. Okay, let's kind of go through these and see if we get anything that's remotely similar to what I had the first time around. I'm not going to go through full tasting notes again. I'm just going to kind of roundly, quickly and very briefly summarize. I'll try and pull up this chat here so I can tune in to you guys at the same time. Ledgic 10, Drew from Arizona, is suggesting, I wanted to keep it to Islay whiskies. Al McLaughlin is, Donner Pass Whiskey saying, would so much rather see the number on the bottle rather than a NAS, like Kilholman and Brookladdy. They can give us full cask breakdown so we can see there are older casks blended in. I would love to see that level of transparency as well, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that I was excited about Ardbeg's Wee Beastie, because that 5-year-old age statement could kind of, okay, there are other reasons to have a non-age statement whiskey because they're much older stock that's been livened up and emboldened a little bit or given a bit of vibrance from a younger whiskey. So putting that young age statement on it kind of betrays that older stock. But there are a lot of whiskies out there that are genuinely young whiskies that don't have an age statement because they don't want to draw attention to the fact, for perception's sake, that it's young. And Ardbeg doing that 5-year-old age statement, I think, was an exciting thing. Anyway, let's go into this. See how we got on. I'm enjoying all of these whiskies. You know, that's sweet. That's a slightly drier one. I don't know if you could see the colour of that. I'll look away as I share the colour of that one with you. It's not bringing there is a bit of spice and grip to that. So I don't think it's the Kahlua. It's not the softer one. I think that there is a wee bit of mineral there. This is a good whiskey. Whatever this is, it's just a good solid whiskey. Let's go back again. It doesn't have the kind of saccharine sweet finish. I don't think that's our Ardbeg. That's a cleaner, drier. There's mineral there. I don't think that's our Wee Beastie. Happy to be proved wrong. Okay. This is the loudest. This has got quite a nice texture. This is the grapefruit thing. No. 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 So the mid palate on this is nice, clean. There is citrus there, but it's not. It's like a sweeter thing. And it doesn't develop into a spice on the finish. It's soft. It goes quiet on the finish. This is a softer thing. This makes me think that it's the lower ABV of the bunch. So this could be our Kahlua. Does the rest of it fit with Kahlua? I think so. I think that's the softest of the bunch. This is sweet, very sweet, round. This is the sugary brown sugar, demerara sugar, vanilla, rich vanilla, caramel. This is the saccharine one. Oh, it's just, maybe not. Damn. I could talk myself out of that. It's definitely a toffee sweet one. But I think the toffee sweet one was the one that went a wee bit saccharine on the finish. But it's not doing that quite just now. Maybe I need to have a wee bit of water. What I'm demonstrating here, I think, is that it's difficult. These are so much closer than you might imagine. Oh, jeez. Why am I doing this? No question. That's our grapefruit. Seashells, stone, rock pool, mineral brine, spirit. Short. That's the grapefruit one, no question. That's the one that, whether or not anybody else would taste grapefruit sipping that, it doesn't matter. That's how I'm labeling that flavour. That's how I can articulate that flavour. I don't know if it's grapefruit or not to anyone else. I'm enjoying this because I'm actually I'm tasting the differences more than I expected to, especially when I'm doing it live. Okay, last but not least. Sugar, white sugar, bright white sugar. Smoke is practically gone now. I don't. It's this color. This is nice. This is very kind of my. I think I know what this is. So there's almost, it's a bizarre thing to say, but it almost goes to a kind of textured grittiness. It is like sugar. It's almost like a icing sugar thing. Sweet. There's a citrus there, but it's kind of maybe the sharpest of the. A kind of lemon lime, maybe green. Actually, it's more like a green, like a gooseberry thing. Apple peel, green apple. Apple. But sugar is the overriding experience here. Anyway, that's where I'm coming from. So if I was to, I think I would be confident about guessing that one. I would be confident about guessing the second from last. I think I'm confident about the Cleela, and it would just leave two that I would be confused about. Okay, let's see if the boys just went through that pain with me. Simon, Menno, I have no idea why I just did that. But I was actually surprised because I thought that doing it live, kind of the rabbit in the headlights thing, would have made me a wee bit confused. But I was able to pick out differences. Were you able to see the colours that I was sipping there?
Yeah.
So could you sip at the same time as me?
Yeah.
Was anything I was saying in agreement with your or?
Yeah, that the red definitely. When you were talking about the sugar on the finish of that, I was definitely picking that up. And
that was red.
Yeah, that texture.
That's what I picked as my favourite as well. Red. Did you get the grittiness almost on the finish?
Yeah.
And it's almost like an effervescence. There is a texture there on that specific whiskey. Menno, I don't know if you would agree on the red.
Yeah, I put this last initially, the red, but it has evolved and changed so much in the course of 2 hours that I would push it up a bit now, I think.
Yeah, fickle whiskey, right? It's a pain. It does switch about and it does change in the glass. I've started to. I can feel the adrenaline building a wee bit because I feel confident about 3 of these drams, and that's a good position to be in. Because if you can get 3 and there's only 2 left, that's a 50-50 to complete the thing. Whiskey Wims is saying, "Oh, away to bed, guys. Menno, you're a star. Have a good night, guys, and hit that like button." There you go. You've got a friend in Stuart Allison up. Stuart was on last week. Played a wee game of Is It a Space Side as well. Doing sharing content on YouTube as well. If you're looking for Stuart Allison, Whisky Wims is his channel. Stuart, good night, my friend. Rest well, and keep bringing the YouTube fun. Thank you so much, buddy. Thank you for your super chat. So, how are you feeling about a blind matchup? Are you willing just to let me lead? Do you want to kind of put your head above the parapet? How do you think you've isolated our Ardbeg Wee Beastie?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
I have a clue, but
I've got a hunch, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put my life on it.
No.
I'll put my head above the parapet, okay? I think, and I don't know where it is in the lineup now, but I should be able to find it again. I think the one that is our Ardbeg. Oh dear. Okay, yep. Okay. I think pick up this color. Okay, I'm looking away, and sip it alongside me, and we'll try this together. Okay. I think this is the loudest on the nose. I think it's the peatiest, the smokiest, and I think it's the most spirity. I think it's the one that shouts loudest. I also think that, right, okay, there's that. Is anybody getting like a pink grapefruit bitterness mid palate? Then it kind of goes really kind of minerally on the end.
I'm not getting the grapefruit so much, but I'm definitely getting that mineral.
Yeah.
Kind of goes like a rock pool on the finish.
Mm.
I think that's your Ardbeg. I think that's the youngest. That's the most spirity here. Could I convince you to go along with me?
No,
You agree?
I agree. I wrote down Wee Beastie under the. Can I show you the color or?
Sorry?
Can I show you the color you were?
No, I
sipping?
don't, because I don't want. I'm the only one who knows the color matchup right now.
Mhm.
So if you show me the color, it's kind of, and even I don't want to be. Anyway, I think that is our Wee Beastie. I honestly think on the one that I've picked as my favorite tonight is red. I think I've tasted it. I'm familiar with it, and I've gone with a favorite. And I think the red is Lagavulin 8.
Yeah, wrote that down.
I had that as the
Yeah, that's unmistakable white icing sugar thing for me. It plays well into that. The other one that I thought was quite clear to me was the softness of, I think it was this one. Oh Jesus, they get better as they sit in the glass, don't they? Did you see the color that I held up there? We'll hold it up again. I'll look away. I think this is our low ABV. I think this is our Kalila, which leaves me with these two to decide between the Scarabus and the Aerolite Lindsay. One's actually darker. Okay, let's go with this one, the darker one, 10 years old, right? We don't. The Scarabus is maybe a non-age statement, so that's this one. I'm saying is I can look at the color now that I'm committed. The blue one I'm saying is Scarabus.
Yeah, I had that as well.
And pink I'm going to suggest is Aerolite Lindsay. I've led you, haven't I?
I was with you on the first two, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the same. I was with you on the first two, but we've definitely drifted as we've gone down the list.
Okay, go for it. Share it. Speak it out.
Simon?
So I actually had the green one down as the Ardbeg. And then I had the pink one. I felt the pink one was the softer one, so I had that as the Kalila.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Same here.
And the yellow I had as the Aerolite, just as a process of elimination. I've never tasted it, so I've got no idea.
Okay. So what color have I said is Ardbeg Wee Beastie then? I think that's
same as me. I put down the yellow as Wee Beastie and the red as the Laga. But then as I put down the pink as Kalila as well, same as Simon.
okay. Let's drop in the solution for everybody to see at the same time. And I'll do a screen share here as well. I hope I can paste this in. This is the link. So the link that I shared earlier for everyone to see. I'll drop it in again so that you can see it.
Is there a drum roll?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, except it's not pasting. Right, it's in now. Okay. Share screen. Copy link. Drop it in so everybody can see at the same time.
Ooh.
So you can see that now, right?
Yeah.
Let's do a screen share. Oh, damn, I can't. Got too many windows open. I'll bring it across so I can share the screen again and share with everybody.
3 out of 5.
Does that mean I got 5 out of 5?
Yeah. Scarabus is softer and sweeter than I remembered. I switched the Colilla and the Scarabus. Other than that, I got them. I'll take that.
Okay, I only got. I said this. I said the darker one was. Era like Lindsay at 10 years old.
Yeah, you got it.
No, I got those the wrong way around.
Yeah, you had the Scarabus as the blue.
So
yeah.
Yeah, I've picked Scarabus as. Wow, that's amazing, right? Scarabus non-age statement.
So much softer than I remember.
Yeah. Okay, so what's this one? This is the one I thought was Kalila green.
Yeah.
Okay, good. No, I think that the Kalila is softer. But the important thing is, I'm convinced I got this now because I'm sure I could pick out Lagavulin. Again, Lagavulin with the 48% ABV as well helps it a little bit. I think that's what brings that effervescence, that fizz, that texture. That helps, and also that ice and sugar thing. And then the Ardbeg, I think the thing that gives away the Ardbeg is that spiritiness and the kind of mineralic, ashy, rock pool salinity on the finish. So there we go. What's the conclusion here? Is that actually that Ardbeg Wee Beastie is not a full house. It's not a kick it out the park. It's not a hero whiskey, but it is much better than I expected it to play. I have to say, I thought the youthfulness of that would stand out like a naked man with its hair on fire. And it's actually able to walk around in 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old malt company and do okay. I think the other thing I've proved, though, is that there are still inexpensive, good quality malts that you can buy. Scarabus has proved itself time and time again, despite the fact that it doesn't talk about colour and filtration and it doesn't have an age statement. It keeps proving itself in blind tastings. The Era like Lindsay, I think, is coming across as a nice, enjoyable dram tonight. Kalila is solid and dependable. And I think for me, interestingly, let's go back to our favourites from earlier, shall we?
Yeah, that's changed now a bit.
But it would change, would you? Would you change it?
Yeah. I think I would.
Well, let's go to try the screen share. Except I've got too many windows open. Now the one I was just using it to reference, I've lost. Need to open. Here we are, I've got it. Now, I know we've got our notes in here from Thomas as well, and the other guys, I'd like to share that as a summary. Let's not forget to do that. Here's your favourites. Now, of course, the whole point here is that you are able to change your mind. Why would you not want to change your mind as the night goes on? I always say that's why the Recycled Reviews has a column in the score sheet that has changed my mind score. Because sometimes it's not even changing your mind the next day. Sometimes it's changing your mind in the same flight, in the same lineup. So you can change your mind here, guys. But Menno, let's start with you first. You went for, so your favourite is pink.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the Scarabus as my favorite for the evening.
Good.
So I'm with good company because I think Bart from Scotch Test Dummies picked that one as well in his Peated Blind Challenge.
Yes, absolutely. He was
but I
wood.
would bump up the lager, so the reds, into second or third place, I think.
Because it changed as the night went on.
It started out really. Initially, it was really dirty, funky, but it evolved so quickly, and it keeps on evolving throughout the night. So it's just a very interesting, quality, complex dram.
I like it. I just like it. It's clean. It's moreish. Makes you want to go back.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Ardbeg, the Wee Beastie you had is your second favourite.
That would drop a place to third, and then the Colila
The
to
lager
fourth,
would
and
come
then
up.
the Islay Lindsay in last position.
Okay, and Colila second from last. Good.
Yeah.
Simon, are you sticking with your original lineup? So you've said blue. That's the Aerolite Lindsay is your favourite. Excellent. And then followed by the Lagavulin. And then Colila in middle, Scarabus second from last, and Ardbeg Wee Beastie. Now it's interesting because Thomas, Rico, and you and me all put Ardbeg Wee Beastie in last place. I think that's a wee bit unfair to it, but I think that's maybe down to the youthfulness of it there. We've all been able to pick up on that slightly more spirity thing. The others were a bit cleaner. And even now, Menno's start to talk about maybe bumping the Wee Beastie down as he's been sitting with it tonight. Let's look at the notes of Thomas and other guys. He's saying, I'm thinking red is Wee Beastie, so that turned out to be Lagavulin, for the hot ginger and green barley. So that ginger, that's him getting that effervescence, I think, and green barley. Green maybe a young peated Buna of sorts. Green turned out to be Colila, if I'm right. Pink, old damp sherryness. Oh, wow. Blue was okay, but a bit too singular of licorishness. Wow, licorice on blue. Now, I thought blue was kind of the drier one. I'll give you the aniseed and the licorishness, absolutely, Thomas. Yellow was sweet on the nose and to start, then had a yucky, burnt offish nut finish. I think that's the spiritiness on the finish of that. Rico said, given some time in the glass, he'd go for red Ardbeg. Okay, so red turned out to be Lagavulin. Blue was Colila. We don't know if it's Colila or not. It's there like Lindsay. It could be Colila. Green Bunnahavn. That turned out to be absolutely Colila. Pink Lagavulin. Pink was Scarabus. I think to this day that Scarabus is Lagavulin, but I don't know for sure. And yellow, Bamore. He's thinking yellow was Bamore. Yellow turned out to be the Wee Beastie. And then we have your notes here as well. Everybody can go in and view these. I've shared the link for everybody to see. And hopefully that's working and people can see what we've been trying to achieve here in the background. Guys, I don't know if we succeeded in anything tonight, but I had fun. I thought I'd get 5 out of 5. I'm secretly devastated. I tripped over at the last hurdle, but it's bizarre how it does switch and change. And I think that, I'm reassured by the fact that there were enough differences to be able to talk about each individual dram. But I'm reassured about how close they were in terms of if somebody poured you these and you had to throw the cork in the fire and sit and enjoy a bottle of this with friends, any of these would be perfectly wonderful.
Sure. Absolutely.
Would you be sad about spending £40, €45 for any of these bottles?
Not at all.
I still think that Wee Beastie is a bit expensive for my I mean, I had that bottom of the list and it stayed bottom of the list. So
I have to agree. My gut feeling is to agree with you, Simon, that I think 5-year-old single Islay malt whiskey, £40 is a bit salty, honestly. However, I set this up tonight in order to prove that. And I don't think I've succeeded. Maybe I succeeded with a small s because 4 out of the 5 people that were enjoying this tonight, be interesting to see which Charlie chimes in with when she gets a chance to sit with these, whether she's able to contradict or back up what we've chosen. But we put one in last place. Clearly, the Wee Beastie has last place by consensus, right?
Mm-hmm.
But even then, we didn't decide that this is awful. We just decided clearly this is the most youthful. So yes, it's out there. It's going to sell. It's going to sell by the bucket load. But if you can't get your hands on an Ardbeg Wee Beastie because the distribution isn't up to it, because it's not made it to you, sorry, Menno, you're one of those guys. I live in the country that it's made, and I was one of the last to get it as well. Ralphie made the exact same point in his excellent recent review of this whiskey. Don't worry, there's a bunch of other stuff out there to enjoy. There.
That's a bit of a problem, isn't it?
Yes. The problem is there is too much. There's just too much out there to enjoy. Kresimir is in. Sniper King is here saying we learned that there was no reason for Ardbeg hype. I suppose there was something. Anita Ninyel, I've seen that name before. I'm sure I have. Anita, wonderful to have you. I told Thomas Yellow was an Ardbeg and he just ignored me. That's Anna. Of course it is. It's Anna. Wonderful. Good to have you in, Anna. And hi, Thomas. You should listen to your better half. She's right. It was an Ardbeg. There'd be an interesting dynamic going on there, is arguing over the blind. And I'm sorry I could only send you out such small. It was only three CL samples. So hopefully it was enough to get your head around it and things. Everyone is saying, between you guys and Scotch Test Dummy, Scarabus looks like it's worth pursuing. I have to say, it is. I think Scarabus is the one, was the pink. I need to find it now.
Yeah.
I think, was Scarabus the one I was getting the saccharin on? It was, wasn't it?
Hmm.
Have you got any pink left in your glasses, boys?
Just finished it, but I'm good.
Try it on, just on the finish. I don't know if you have any reference for saccharin, for artificial sweetener. You know what it tastes like, right? It's in some sweets, some candy. It's in, on the finish, it kind of goes that saccharin, slightly bizarre, bittersweet finish. I'll drop in the link one more time, hopefully that folk can go and see our little summary there, our little test. Okay, boys, thank you so much for participating and joining with me. I know you're going to stay, and I think you're going to try and play a wee game of Is It a Speyside? It's 11:20. Oh my God.
No, thank you, Roy. It's been a pleasure.
This was
well. Are you willing to stay? Do you want to play a game of Is It a Speyside?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Menno, I'll let Simon. I think Simon's the only one who's not. He's played and he's the only member of the NWA that's not got a sniper coin, right?
Yep. I'm playing for Honor tonight.
Okay. Menno, I'll pull you in a second for you to have to complete your set. And
good luck, Simon.
Thank you. I'm going to need it.
Excellent. Okay, buddy, let's get a quick game of Is It a Speyside. I've actually had fun tonight. I've enjoyed doing this. I don't know how it's going to play out. I don't know how it's going to look on the replay and things like that, but it's been fun to do it. And I'm quite happy to accept that I didn't get 5 out of 5, and I'm quite happy to accept that the point I intended to make wasn't made as clearly as I expected. That it's not quite as bad as it would first seem. I agree with you, Simon. It is still a wee bit salty on price. But, it's Ardbeg. It's Ardbeg. As long as they don't push the price of that excellent 10-year-old up, would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Preserve the 10-year-old. Keep the following that you've got in place for that at the price point that it's at. Please, Ardbeg, you can do it. Okay, buddy, we're ready for a wee game of Is It a Speyside? Who is asking who, please?
You can ask me.
Okay, I'm asking you. All right.
Yep.
All right, I need to kind of get my head straight. I've got some notes here because I've slipped up on a few banana skins recently, but I'll do my very very best tonight. And I'm asking you. We're not going to set a timer. We'll just do the countdown. And Simon, is it a Speyside?
No.
Is it a Highland?
It is.
Okay, I love this new thing we've got about Dalwhinnie being the centre of the map. Let's ask, is it north of Dalwhinnie?
Yes.
Okay. Is it an Eastern Highlands?
Yes.
Okay, so it's north of Dalwhinnie, but it's over on the east. Okay. I know I went to my west, but I'm doing it to you guys, so it's east. Is it a glen?
It is.
So we've got Glengarry, Glenglassaugh, Glendronach. Does it have an age statement?
No, it doesn't.
So it's not a Glendronach. By age statement, I mean vintage or age statement. Can you tell the age, obviously? So it's either Glenglassaugh, which is Torfa Evolution Revival. It could be Glengarry Founders Reserve. Is it a Glenglassaugh?
It is.
Is it peated?
No, it's not.
Is it Glenglassaugh Revival?
It is. I've been denied again.
Do you know what, Simon? Honestly, for appearing behind the bar, for stepping up, for doing everything that you did, for committing your thoughts and everything live behind the bar on the vPub, I'm very happy as a friend. And just I'm very happy to send you a sniper coin, my friend.
Thank you, Roy. That's very generous.
This is the sniper coin. So anybody that wants to come on, I'm struggling to get that to focus on here. There we go. For anybody that wants to come on and win themselves, these can't be bought. These can only be won either by participating in the chat. So whoever guessed, what was it, Glenglassaugh Revival? In the chat first, the first one to guess that in the chat will also be sent one of these coins. So you can play from the lounge as well. But the only way to get a hold of these coins is to win it. So play from the lounge or just send me an email, whisky@aquavitae.com. Title it, is it a Speyside? And just write, I'm in. And I'll add you to the waiting list. And then well in advance of you coming in behind the bar to play, I'll contact you through email. And it's a great way of connecting the community, putting faces to names and all of that kind of thing. Simon, thanks. But I think Glenglassaugh was a wee bit too easy for me tonight. I had at least one or two questions in the bag before I got it in the end. Last week, Stuart Allison tried to catch me out with the Evolution as well. But thanks for coming on, buddy. Stay till the quiz
Cheers.
at the end, won't you, my friend?
Thank you, Roy.
Thanks for contributing tonight, Simon. It's a pleasure to have you around, buddy. Thank you.
Cheers.
Let's get Menno in. Menno, have you got a harder challenge ahead? Are you asking or are you answering?
I'll be answering.
Okay, so I'm asking again. No problem. No problem. Are you confident that it's more tricky than Glenglassaugh Revival?
I hope so. I think so. Might be.
Okay, buddy, let's see how we get on. I'm asking again. All right. Menno, my friend in Belgium, is it a Speyside?
Yes.
Is it one of the big four? That is Diageo, Edrington, Grants, or Pernod Ricard?
Yes.
Damn. Is it Diageo?
No.
Does it have an age statement?
Yes.
Is it Chivas Brothers, Pernod Ricard?
No.
Oh wow! So we're down to Grants or Edrington. Wow, struggling. Edrington, it can only be Macallan. Glenrothes. Ooh. Is it Edrington?
Yes.
Is it a Macallan?
No.
Is it Glenrothes? Damn, they changed their lineup, didn't they? Well, you could have me here. Is it Glenrothes 10?
Oh,
Oh,
it is. Well done.
I thought I had a sweat on there. I had a sweat on because
I thought I had you for a moment.
I'm not so familiar with Glenrothes' rebranding, and I know they got rid of some of their age statement stuff. They brought a new lineup, those bright open boxes and things. I kind of visualized the yellow 10-year-old. Thank you for being kind to me, Menno.
You sniped that one very well, I think.
Yeah, you almost caught me out. That means that you can't. So how many sniper coins have you won?
4.
4. That was you playing for your 5th. So you're getting to the point that you're almost able to cover a flight. I'm going to grant you the same gift that I did Simon. If you'll accept it, of course, I'm happy to send you a 5th sniper coin for being brave enough to step up, play again, and obviously get involved in that little blind sample, that blind Islay lineup as well.
Yeah. Cheers.
Are you willing to stay for the quiz as well?
I can't, unfortunately.
It's late. It's an hour ahead for you, my friend. It's 11:30 now. I'm going to need to race through the quiz I'm not going to keep it under 2 hours, let's be honest. Menno, can I just say thank you so much, my friend? You're always very vocal. You're always supportive. You're a wonderful part of the community as well. The fact that I can reach out to you and say, I'm going to send you 5 blind samples. Are you willing to? Yeah, I'll do that. Will you come on live? Yeah, I'll do that. It's just great to have folk like you in the community, and it's wonderful to have you around. Menno, thank you so much.
Cheers, Roy. This was a pleasure.
Always, buddy. I'll see you soon, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent stuff. Okay, let's jump into the chat for a quick couple of minutes with you guys before we get the quiz going. Bring Simon in again for the quiz at the end. Tonight, I don't know what's happened tonight. It's just disappeared. Megan Miller is saying, sniped. Aye, I sneaked it as well. Jimmy Legg is saying, very nice. And Daniel Vermaas is saying, Aquavita is the top lobster. Is that perhaps looking a bit pink tonight? I wouldn't be surprised the amount of Islay whiskey I've been putting away to try and make sense of it all. Jean de la Cuisine is giving applause to Menno Multi-Mission. Absolutely. Alan McLaughlin is saying, Helen got that one. Well done. Superb. She sneaked it. Megan Miller is saying, is taken as a space side to the Olympics. Alistair McPhail is saying, well, I've been evangelized among friends and colleagues. They've all remarked about the narrative, i.e. they love the idea that it's not whiskey until it's shared. Absolutely. Menno, who was on a minute ago, no, sorry, it was Rico, actually, who was playing along in the background with us. And he had a set of samples tonight along with Thomas, and they were putting their scores in. He sent me a book from a guest house or a bar. I think it was a whiskey bar, actually. And she heard the words from Rico, it's not whiskey till it's shared. And then this whiskey bar in Germany made their guest book and had that embossed on the front. It's not whiskey until it's shared. I hope they know that they have to pay for the use of that slogan. Not at all. It's not a slogan until it's shared, right? Scotch Mard is saying, if Kalila didn't exist, how much more do you think the other Islay malts would cost for a 10 to 12-year-old? We always say it, literally. If you're talking about slogans, thank God for Kalila. Due to increased peated malt demand from blends, absolutely. Not just from blends, but increased demand for Islay whiskies. Kalila, 6.5 million litres, does all the heavy lifting, not all the heavy lifting, but a significant chunk of heavy lifting for that island. And I think it's wonderful that they can do it and still bring out such a solid, consistent, good quality product. It doesn't matter if it's an official Kalila, it doesn't matter if it's an independent bottling of a Kalila. I don't think I've ever encountered a Kalila that I've not enjoyed, and I don't think I've ever encountered anybody coming to me and saying, I didn't enjoy this Kalila. It's solid. Donna Pass Whiskey is saying, really enjoying the clear coins. Anthony Dunn bought me a wee dram saying, good night, crack. A fun night Thank you very much, Anthony. It looks like you're pulling a wee parachute. I'm not sure where you are on the planet. You bought me in pound sterling, but it's probably getting a wee bit late for you as well in the UK, Anthony. Cheers, my friend, Slancha. And Jimmy Legg has bought me a dram as well. Thank you so much for your package. Can't believe it arrived. I can't believe it arrived either, Jimmy. That was a good wee experiment, but it was just, I wanted to, I'd caught your comments about those specific drams. And if I was going to try that, I was going to say, I'm just going to try and send these teeny wee drams to Jimmy, and hopefully some kind customs officer will open up that package, see that it's a gift to a friend, and let it get through. And I think that's what happened, Jimmy. I hope you enjoy them. Thank you for your dram, my friend. Thank you, Anthony, as well. Cheers. Lagavulin. Oh, looks pink now. This is Scarabus. Oh no, this is Scarabus. But it's easy to get them confused. I think Scarabus is Lagavulin. I've always said it. It does have that slightly, if it didn't go that kind of saccharine sweet on the finish, it's got the same, it plays similarly to me on the palate. It could be Kalila. I can't imagine it's anything outside of Kalila or Lagavulin. Okay, let's ask Simon if he's good to come in and just hang out with me. Give me a thumbs up, Simon, if you're okay for the quiz, my friend. Wonderful stuff. What do you normally score on a quiz, Simon?
Oh, it varies from week to week, Roy. Sometimes I'm a 7 or 8, and sometimes I'm about a 3 or 4. So anything could happen.
Well, it's an easy one tonight.
Isn't it always?
I'm actually not sure of how it is tonight as well. Hoyt is saying, sorry to be late, putting ceramic coat on the new Beast. A ceramic coat on, oh, that's his new car. He's putting his own ceramic coat on. Hoyt, thank you very much for the drama, friend. Matt Bishop at Whisky Graham's as well, saying, cheers, Roy. This should pay for my sniper coin. The great Glenn Glasser. Excellent, Matt. Thank you very much. Cheers. And Anthony Dunn is saying, an Island Roy having a pierce through tonight. Oh, a pierce. Wonderful, Anthony. I think I knew you were in Ireland, actually. Sorry for me forgetting. Slancha to you all. Thank you for your drams. So it looks like Matt Bishop managed to snag himself a sniper coin with the Glen Glasser. Wonderful. Congratulations. Okay, buddy, let's have a wee go at this quiz. I'm running very late tonight. I thank you for everybody for your patience. Thanks for hanging out. I hope that wasn't too difficult and painful to watch. I try these things. Sometimes I think I should just have a regular theme, just have a regular vPub, but I think it's nice to have a bit of fun and experiment as well. Good luck, everybody. The quiz is always multiple choice. You're only playing against yourself. Please stay and hang out and just try it. It's 1 in 3 chance of getting every question. You don't need to share your score. It's all optional. It's just a bit of fun. The questions are meant to be a little bit insightful, a little bit curious, just about whiskey news, about whiskey concepts and things. There are occasionally banana skins and ass hat questions. There may or may not be those tonight. Simon, good luck. Good luck to everybody as well. Let's go in and ask question 1. Smoky Scott is a 5-year-old Islay single malt whiskey at 46 ABV and £38, but from which distillery? So this is another one that would have fitted exactly into that category tonight. It would have been a brilliant one to have on hand because it would have gone toe-to-toe on age with the Wee Beastie. It's £38, similar ABV. Wee Beastie's at 47.4. But it's £38, similar price, £2 cheaper. But where is it from? Is Smoky Scott from Bunnahabhain, B, Kalila, or C, Bamor? I have never owned Smoky Scott. I have never tried a dram of it. But I think there we have another case in point, another example. This is not selling on its brand. Nobody knows what Smoky Scott is. Very few people know what it is. They do tell you the distillery that it's from, but it's selling on an unknown brand, and it's still able to sell a 5-year-old whiskey at £38. I'm glad that it's out of 46% ABV. Simon, give me your answer, please. What do you think?
I'm going B, Kalila.
Kalila. Give yourself a point to start. You can buy a 5-year-old Kalila called Smoky Scott Online, I found it. I don't know who makes it, but you can currently buy it from Master Malt for £38 if you're curious about young Kalila. If you answered B, like so many of the crowd did, absolutely Orange Wool, Willie Dollier, B. Most people, again, exactly on that theme of what we talked about for Kalila, with them doing all the heavy lifting, they have available product to give us such expressions. Question 2, Invergordon Grain Distillery is unique because it's a grain distillery that's A, not owned by one of the big four, B, located in the Highlands, or C, built in the 20th century. What makes Invergordon as a grain distillery unique? I'll not ask you to blurt out your answer. Just give me a reaction of confidence, or do you think you know? You guessing here? Good.
Absolutely, yeah.
Good. So Invergordon is a grain distillery, but I want to know what makes it unique. It is away up there, north of Inverness. I can tell you that it's owned by White and Mackay. And I can tell you that it was built in the 50s. Don't know if that helps you answer the question. Oh, wow, this is splitting the crowd. Most people think that it's unique because it's not owned by... Oh, no, a lot of people think it's because it's located in the Highlands. Not owned by one of the big four. I have to tell you that Starlaw is not owned by one of the big four. Loch Lomond is a grain distillery not owned by one of the big four. So that doesn't make it unique. Built in the 20th century? Nope, it is not the only one that was built in the 20th century. Loch Lomond is just one of the other ones. Starlaw was 21st century. But it is the only one that's located in the Highlands. So if you've answered B, give yourself a point. Invergordon is the only one that's in the Highlands. What would you have guessed, Simon?
I was going for C on that one.
Okay. Thanks for your honesty. You could have said B. I was honest. B. So you thought it was when it was built. Question 3. The 2020 Maker's Mark wood finishing release. Now this rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? SE4X PR5 uses what to amp the flavors? Okay, this is the second release after last year's RC6. Maker's Mark getting into wood finishing, which is quite interesting, I think. We are never going to get a chance to try it in the UK very easily, I'm sure. But what does it use to amp the flavors? This is Maker's Mark, obviously a wheated bourbon. Is it A, sherry casks, B, oven-dried and toasted staves, or C, virgin French oak casks? I sense from your reaction, Simon, you're going to be guessing here.
I am, absolutely.
Bourbon is such a clearly, heavily defined style and genre of whiskey. This is curious to me that they're doing this. And when the flavors are defined by such a powerful thing, as such an active thing as virgin oak, what are they able to do to amp the flavors, and how much of a difference does it make? Anybody that's interested, Scotch Test Dummies just released a review on this very release if they want to know what people think about it. There's a few other reviews out there already, but I think it's quite a curious release. The crowd seem to be guessing B, which is oven-dried and toasted staves. What would you guess, Simon?
Yeah, I'd go with the crowd. I'm going B.
Staves. A la Compass Box Spice Tree from about 12 years or so ago. Absolutely B. They are using staves. They're using convection oven-dried toasted staves, some of which, if not, I think one of those codes, SE4 or PR5, is French oak. Quite an interesting release from Maker's Mark. Question 4. Another relaunch this week with Glenturret in Lalique inspired, because of the new owners, of course, of Glenturret, bottles. And a 15-year-old, part of the core range is 15-year-old. But what ABV has Glenturret given us in its new luxury-inspired packaging? 15-year-old at A, 40% ABV, a 15-year-old at B, 48% ABV, or C, for a 15-year-old at 55% ABV. Lots of relaunches, rebranding coming out to various. It's kind of funny when you first see something, there's an emotional reaction to it. It takes you a while to get used to it, but this is quite distinct. Did you see the Glenturret packaging? No.
No, I haven't picked that up at all.
I've got a wee picture here, Simon, so you might not know. You might be guessing here again.
No, I am going to be guessing, definitely.
What did Glenturret bring us their 15-year-old in? How did they present it to us? Now, I have to say at this point, I have no idea what price was. I searched frantically for pricing here, there, and everywhere. Don't even know if it's been released yet. I can't imagine it's a budget RAM. But what have they come out at? Guess, Simon. Give us a wee guess.
I'm going to break the B trend, and I'm going to go for C.
Give yourself a point. Glenturret brought us a 15-year-old. Very interesting. I don't know how big the release is. At 55% ABV, which suggests something close to cask strength. Really interested in that. I think it's a good take. It'd be interesting to see how else it's presented in terms of filtration and colour, of course. And of course, I'm most interested in the price. But that's something I'm interested in. Price dependent. And here's a wee picture of the lineup here. We've got a non-age statement triple wood at 40%, I think, or 43. We've got a 10-year-old, I think, is also at 43. That 10-year-old is peated, it's peat smoked. We've got a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old at 55%. If anybody's got any idea of the prices, it'd be nice to hear. But that was just released today. If you go on the Glenturret website, it's still saying it's a holding page, coming soon. It's funny how social media is where you get the news first these days, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, we're at the halfway point. I'll ask everybody in the lounge how the scores are doing. Anybody that wants to share their scores after question 5, which is the picture. We're off to Japan. And I want to ask, I'm going to help people because this is an asshat question, honestly. But this is a hidden distillery amongst all the green leaf shrubbery here. But it's quite a striking picture. I like to look at this picture, so I decided to use it tonight as I asked. Are we looking at A, Miyagikyo, B, Hakushu, or C, Yoichi? And I'm going to help by saying that Miyagikyo A is kind of their take on geographically, climatically speaking, their Speyside style. I was involved in a Glasgow Whisky Club tasting on Tuesday night. It was excellent, hosted by Nathan, and it was Asian whiskies. There was a few Japanese whiskies in the lineup. It was tremendous. Really fantastic stuff from Kavalan, from Amrut, from other Japanese producers. Miyagikyo is kind of their Speyside style. Hakushu is kind of more in the south between Nagoya, Tokyo, that kind of region. Hakushu is able to do, if you've ever seen don't spoil it. And C, Yoichi is in the Northern Island, up close to Sapporo. Miyagikyo is kind of middle. Sendai, I think, is the biggest city. So I'm just asking, does this look like a northerly distillery, kind of middle of Japan? Japan's a huge country, of course. I heard on Tuesday night that it stretches 3,000 miles north to south. Quite incredible. Or is it Yoichi in the far north? What would you guess, Simon?
I'm going to go A. Just a sheer punt.
Richard Hall is saying definitely A. Falsgraf is saying A. James Cadden looks like a new name, James. Good to welcome you in. He's saying A. Jean Delacosine says A. Graham Fraser is guessing A. And lots of people, Gabriel Wilding, Alan McLaughlin, Frank Peathead, Odd Johan Lundberg. Good to see you, Johan. All agreeing with Simon. Give yourself a point, Simon. Well done. Miyagikyo, absolutely. So let's see how the scores are doing in the chat at the halfway point. Blair Stevenson also guessed A. Well done, Blair. Along with Richie Z, Hoyt, Peter Box, all guessing A. Well done. Or knowing A. Maybe you didn't guess. Maybe you knew. Oh, okay, I'm looking for the 5 out of 5s as it screams down. It's Falsgraf is on 5 out of 5 so far. Jimmy Legg on 3 out of 5. Falsgraf is Daniel Vermaas, 5 out of 5 as well. You always do quite well, Daniel, on the quizzes. Okay, the chat jumps. Chris Banks is saying 2 out of 5 bugger. Sean 2 out of 5 as well. And Blair Stevenson is celebrating his 4 out of 5. Anthony Dunn seems to be happy as well on his 3 out of 5 as well. Stewie Baby is struggling tonight. 2 out of 5. Stewie, you've still got plenty of time. Second half of the quiz to go. Okay, let's see how we go. Jeffrey Mill is on 10 out of 10 already. He's awarding himself 10 out of 10. And the thing about the quiz at the end, Jeffrey, you're absolutely welcome to do that. Much as the same way you can cheat your face off at a round of golf and tell all your pals in the clubhouse that you scored way under your handicap, only to cut your own nose off to spite your face next time. Chris is saying if Japan was placed over Europe, Okinawa would be in Lisbon, and the northern tip of Hokkaido would touch Stockholm. Yeah, and I don't think, just the way that the globe and the map looks, it doesn't look like it's that big when it's placed off to the east of Asia like that. It looks a wee bit smaller, but I imagine that it is huge. Frank Peahead is celebrating his pass mark already, only halfway through. Question 6, how many regions, in inverted commas, are covered by Douglas Laing's remarkable regional malt series? How many Scottish regions are covered by Douglas Laing's remarkable regional malts? A, 5, B, 4, C, 6. I can see you searching the landscape.
I should know this.
Anthony Dunn is saying 3 out of 5. This is where it all falls apart now. Don't say that. That's like getting to the 9th hole, having a good score, and then going up the back 9 and knowing that your card's going to blow up and you're going to make a mess of it as you come back to the clubhouse. Don't say it, Anthony. You're going to be fine. You're going to get back home. Well, this is splitting the crowd as well. Wow. I thought this would be a shoe-in for most people. Simon, it looks like you're guessing.
I think I'm going A.
An educated guess? Can you list any?
Well, it'll be Speyside, Highland, Lowland, Islay. What did I have for the 5th one?
Campbelltown. So yes, their Speyside is Scallywag, their Highland is Timorous Beastie, their Lowland is the Epicurean, their Islay is Big Pete, and the Gauldrons is their Campbelltown.
Yeah.
But you're forgetting Rock Island, which is their island, which makes it 6.
I'll get the coat.
Yeah, so that's why I put the regions in inverted commas there, because rather than go with the protected or regional localities in the SWA definitions, they've added islands on there, which I think is absolutely valid. Which also the Rock Island mixes a bit of Islay into the mix alongside Arran, Jura, and Orkney as well. But they have 6 releases, and I've got a wee image here just to share with everybody. Epicurean, Timorous Beastie, Scallywag, Rock Island, Big Pete, and the Gauldrons from Campbelltown. Must be difficult to put a blended malt together from Campbelltown, right? Only 3 distilleries down there and not a lot of stock kicking around. Graham Fraser is complaining that was a wee bit of a banana skin, and I think so. I think you're right. Andrew Pears is sad on a 2 out of 6. Andrew, there's still time to recover. Don't worry. Question 7. Some whiskey news happened about a Bible. I think we'll just skip right over that. I'm not interested in talking about that annual comic whatsoever. Although there were some peer creators and reviewers out there quite happy about his Alberta Premium pick. I think there was a lot of people quite excited about that. It's a valid whiskey. But Glen Grant, again, it's just what is going on? The last version of that book that I bought was 2015, and I can count on one hand how many times I've opened that book since 2015. I find the value very, very thin. I'm going to talk about a book that I do find a lot of value in, and that's the Malt Whisky Yearbook. Of course, it's not the Whiskey Bible. It's not a global whiskey book. It's only talking about malt whiskey, global malt whiskey, of course. But I do find huge value. This book is like my friend, literally. It actually helps me create a lot of these quizzes. What month is it released in? A, September, B, October, or C, November? It comes out every year. It's been coming out every year since 2005 now. 2021 is coming soon. Is it this month, next month, or a month after? A, September, B, October, or C, November? Simon.
I've just ordered it, so I'm pretty confident with this one. I think it's B, October.
Yeah, it's a bloody good book, isn't it? Isn't it
Certainly
like
is.
a reassuring friend?
It's a bedtime read.
Yes. I love the editorial in it. I love the reference section. I love the data, the stats. I love the global outlook. I love all of it. Excellent stuff. Yes. I would love to have Ingvar Rond on the show. If anybody knows Ingvar, reach out to him, let him know that he's coming into a safe environment. I just want to bring him in and say thank you for what he's put together. He would be a good guy to speak to. I have met him in the past before, and I've got a fun story about meeting him. Sam, you're absolutely right. Be October. Where are you at this point? You must be on a pass mark. Come on.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I've got 5.
Well done. Major pass mark.
Phew.
With 3 to go as well. Jean de la Cuisine is saying, I have a confession. I may be a wee bit drunk at this point. Jean, you're in good company, and it's okay. You're the guy in charge of everything in your life, and I'm sure you've got no responsibilities tomorrow, and you're relaxing and hanging out. Donald Pass Whiskey is saying, Aquavita, for all of us non-Canadians, that means we don't have to worry about a favourite bottle selling out and being price gouged. Not a fan of Jim Murray picking a bottle I like. I also don't like the nonsense that happens on the back of it, all the news stories that's churned out by people that just don't understand the context of the commentary that's being made. It makes it a wee bit of a shame. Yes. Question 8. Oh, sorry, here's a wee picture of the new one that Simon has just ordered. I have ordered it as well, but I think I've had it on order for ages. If you order it directly from maltwhiskeyyearbook.com, I think you can get deliveries from 1st of October, but you can get it from your specialist retailers, your online retailers, you can get it from Amazon, and I'm sure you can pre-order from all of those places as well. 8. Glengile's heavily peated Kilkerran peat in progress, batch 3, has just released, but what did Glengile's malt spec start at? I have it here. I was actually considering that I might open it to test all these Islas tonight, see how the Islas stack up against it, but that's one for another night, I think. What's the ppm that Glengyle started out at when they started this peat project? Campbelltown peat, A, 34 ppm, B, 54 ppm, or C, 84 ppm. You might find that this question I found in the Malt Whisky Yearbook. 34 phenols parts per million, 54 or 84. Simon, I know you're guessing this one.
I certainly am. Oh, I'm
Jimmy
going to
who would know this? Somebody
for the
who
middle
reads
one,
Malt
I think.
Whisky Yearbook, Jimmy. Somebody who's a big fan of Kilkerran. Sorry to interrupt, Simon. Go ahead.
I'm going to go for the middle one, I think. 54.
Hedge your bets on 54.
Yep.
Ardbeg is similar, parts per million. The reason I found this striking is that Glengyle started out with their malt at 84 ppm.
Whoa.
Yeah, not sure what it is now. Jimmy Legg is saying I am a big fan of Kilkerran. You and I both, Jimmy. I'm keen to open that and try it. We'll see how the peat in progress is coming along. Second from last, question 9. Port Askig is a village and a ferry port in the north of Islay, as well as what kind of whiskey? What kind of whiskey is Port Askig? Is it A, rebranded Colila, much in the same as Smoky Scott and so many others? Is it B, a range of Islay blended malt, a bit like Big Pete and others? Or C, is it various Islay single malts? Can Port Askig be various malts? Is it rebranded Colila? A range of Islay blended malt. B, or various single malts. C. Simon, give me a thumbs up if you're confident about this one. Oh, I thought you'd know.
No, I'm not. No.
Sorry.
I'm going to go A.
You think Port Askig is rebranded Colila?
Yep.
Anthony Dunn says 84 ppm. Sure, light a tire in my mouth. It doesn't play out like that when if you've ever tried one of the peat in progress from Kilkerran. Yes, it's heavily peated Kilkerran, but it's flavoursome and enjoyable. And Peterhead is saying it's a very drinkable whiskey. I missed that answer. David Dahlberg, good to see you, David. Good to welcome you in. Is saying, isn't B and C different ways of saying the same thing? A range of Islay blended malt, various Islay single malts. No, it's So Port Askig, maybe one release could be from Kalila, another release could be a Lafroig or a Lagavulin, another one could be something else. But they're always going to be a single malt. They're not going to be a blended malt. That's where I'm differentiating between them. So does Port Askig say on the label blended malt, or does it say single malt? Give me a guess, Simon.
Well, I'd said A, but I'm guessing it's probably going to be C.
It is. Port Askig is always a single malt. They don't reveal what the distillery is. Of course, it's always branded Port Askig. But I've never had one that's anything other than enjoyable. In fact, their 10th anniversary was sublime. It was amazing, wonderful stuff. But Port Askig 8-year-old specifically would have fitted in tonight's challenge perfectly well. It's round about the 40-ish pounds. It's an 8-year-old age statement, 45.8% ABV as well. Usually damn solid and available as well. Good stuff. Let's see what the scores are doing. Simon, you're still on 7?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, you're on 5. You were on.
Yeah.
Still 5?
Yeah, I've hit a rough patch.
That's all right. That's all right. I think it's me that caused that rough patch. Don't worry about it. Daniel Vermaas is on 8 out of 9. He slipped a wee bit. Daniel still a tremendous score. Greg Unrow saying that the Askig 100 degrees, fantastic. Greg, you're talking about the cask strength, the 100 proof Port Askig. I think you're absolutely right. It's always great release. Not expensive either for cask strength single malt Islay whiskey. Great stuff. I'm looking for the high scores in the chat now. Gabriel Wilding on 7, James Cadden on 6. Ebed is struggling tonight. WTF 3 out of 9. Rolfie, blame me, big guy. Blame me. It's not you. Orange Rule is on 5 tonight. Andrew Pierce is on 4. Andrew, you might still scrape a pass mark yet. One more to get. That's a new name. Vasil Glagola. 5 out of 9. Vasil, nice to welcome you. You've already made a pass mark. Well done. Catherine Bono, 4 out of 9. Needing another point, Catherine. Helen is on 5 out of 9. She's made it. Megan Miller also 5 out of 9. Falscraft 6 out of 9. Wow, I think this might be a tougher one tonight than I first expected. Okay, last question, everybody. I'm way over the 2 hours. Screw it, it doesn't really matter. Flying directly north for the asshat question.
Thanks, Roy.
From Deanston, the next distillery you'll fly over if you took a direct flight directly north, leaving Deanston, what's the next distillery you would hit? A, Blair Athol in Perthshire, B, Dalwhinnie in the Highlands, or C, Glenord in the Highlands?
Oh.
This is a horrific question, but the reason I bring it up is we talk about it in Is It a Speyside? We use Dalwhinnie as that horizontal break from north to south. So I put a line down and decided to decide where would we be going from if we were Dalwhinnie to the south, Dalwhinnie to the north. Have I just given it away? I think I may have, but that's okay. We use it to divide up the landscape a little bit. If we left, it's interesting because if you leave Deanston and drive up that road, if you go up through Perthshire, past Pitlochry, past Blair Athol, Edredour, Aberfeldy, and all of that, you would think that that's naturally the next place north, but is in fact not until you get all the way up the A9 to Dalwhinnie that you're on the same. Is that latitude or longitude? That's longitude, isn't it?
Longitude, yeah.
Yeah. So if you fly directly north from Deanston, the next distillery you would hit is a way up in Dalwhinnie. So you go. I might have given you a bit of a freebie to finish. It was an awful asshat question, but it's to kind of think about the geography of it all. So now if we've got a kind of line going that's splitting longitudinally that would go through Dalwhinnie across to, I guess, Glendronach, that kind of line. So we've now got an east-west split running from Dalwhinnie up through the Highlands and down to the Southern Highlands, Deanston. How did you get on, Simon? Did you get one in the end? That's a point for you. So
I got 6 out of 10. So
would you have guessed Dalwhinnie if I hadn't given it away?
I probably would have done, because my first instinct would have been Blair Athol because I drive that route quite often, but it was obviously not going to be the most obvious one. So I probably would have gone Dalwhinnie.
Take the point. Take the point. And run.
I'll take whatever I can get at this stage.
Take the sniper coin. Take the point. Let's jump into the chat before we finish up. Get rid of this quiz. We don't need that anymore. I just need my friend Simon in here. See how the scoring is. Peter Box got an 8 out of 10 tonight. Kilted Miss 6 out of 10. Scotty, you got a pass mark tonight. Thanks for staying up and staying with us. Shane on 6 out of 10. Whiskey Jason 8 out of 10. Jason, superb score. Jimmy Jas 7, easy pass. Thomas Elmer on an 8. Danny 4 out of 10. Almost scraped it tonight. You're celebrating, Dan. You're quite happy with that. Well done. Desi Leland on 5 out of 10. Pass mark. Daniel almost top lobster on 9 out of 10. Does that mean somebody got a 10 out of 10 tonight? Ricky Addicts is saying, giving it away at a double cross. No, it's late, my friend. It's late, so I gave it away. I'm looking for a 10 out of 10. I'm not seeing it. Is anybody else seeing it? Alan McLaughlin got a 10 out of 10? No,
wow.
Just kidding. 8 out of 10. He's saying I will get 10 out of 10 one day, you sneak, Alan. Aye, you will get 10 out of 10 one day. Graham Fraser is saying, thanks, Roy. He's got an empty glass. He's saying, thank you very much, Glenn Cairn, tipping out. I can't see. I think Daniel Vermaas is up there with the highest on a 9 out of 10. And Desi is saying that was an asshat question. Desi, I don't deny, absolutely was. Jimmy's bought me a dram as well to say, can't wait for the new content. Thanks, Roy. Yes, I shared with patrons recently that my ideas and the things that I'm working on in the background for the future. There's more to come in the future. Odd Johan Lundberg has bought me a dram as well. Thank you so much, Johan. And Jimmy, wonderful to have your support. And thank you for your virtual drams. Cheers. Thank you both so much staying to the end. Thank you all for staying to the end. Listen, if you enjoy hanging out with us, if you enjoy being part of this community and things, leave a wee thumbs up. Leave a comment in the video description underneath as well. Any ideas that you have about future vPub themes and content that you would be interested in that you think could be valuable, by all means share with us what you're enjoying. And of course, if you want to participate in Is It a Speyside, send an email to whisky@aquavitae.com and I'll add you to the waiting list and I'll reach out to you well in advance. Simon, my friend, thank you so much for being brave enough to join in.
Thank you, Roy. Thank you.
Please stay till the end and I'll raise a glass with you to say thanks before I send you off to bed. But thank you, buddy. Thank you for tonight. And it's been nice
pleasure
as a wingman with Menno. Sláinte, my friend.
Sláinte.
And thank you to all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you for making my Thursday nights a highlight in these bleak weeks of uncertainty that we seem to be facing. And it doesn't seem to have much of an end in sight anytime soon, regardless. We have whiskey and we have each other. We have this community. We have this kind of fun thing going on. I'm looking forward to next week. I hope that if it works out, they'll be able to bring on Jason from the Mash and Drum and hang out with him. I already thought he was a fantastic guy with a fantastic passion and appreciation for whiskey. But the blind challenge that we did together, it's just kind of, I'm overhyping it. I won't overhype it. It should be coming out over the next week or so, and I'm going to ask Jason to come in and join me in a vPub. I think that would be a nice little hangout. We can have a bit of a bourbon Scotch mashup night, talk about tasting, talk about blind tasting, talk about concepts and collaboration, the YouTube community, that kind of thing. It'd be good to welcome Jason in next week. I've also reached out to some really quite interesting guests for the future. It's touch and go whether they can all make it or not. These vPubs often go out really quite late for folk, honestly speaking. But, it's just kind of trying to find the optimal time to reach as much of you as I possibly can. On Sunday, I've got a lock-in for patrons only. I am trying to do that a wee bit earlier to help. Because it's on a Sunday, honestly, there is the option to do it a wee bit earlier. I hope I can bring that a wee bit earlier for my patrons on Sunday as well. But listen, let me raise this glass and say thank you all for staying way over the 2 hours. It's beyond midnight in the UK, beyond 1 a.m. in Europe. Thank you for hanging out with me on another Thursday night. Thank you for helping preserve my own sanity. I hope that that's helping your sanity a wee bit too. It's wonderful to hang out with you, and I'll see you all a week from tonight. Thank you, you beautiful whiskey folk. Every one of you is dearly loved. Sláinte mhath.